a fantastic man. He really is.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome.
What's going on, everybody? It's Dan French here with the French Workbench podcast, streaming live here from Las Vegas. I got a full studio, a lot of people in here today with different perspectives on what's going on here in Las Vegas. We got a full show today. We go around the room and introduce everybody. This is the most real and behind-the-scenes information regarding financing, real estate, money talk, entrepreneurs through on-job and education here in Las Vegas. And in studio, I got a full cast. I'm going to go ahead and introduce my main guest here. He's a guy that I've been knowing for a few years now. And he's a guy that actually does my own insurance, but he can do many other types of insurance. So we're going to go ahead and without further ado, we're going to introduce Mr. Cook. What's going on over here, buddy? How you doing?
Man, thanks for having me.
Mr.
Nice
Carl
to be
Cook,
here.
what's going on, bud?
Never a dull moment, just looking for insurance.
So you got into insurance, man, and how long ago was that?
I've been doing this almost 20 years. Yeah.
Okay.
Broker for 19 of those.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk with Carl here today about what options you have out there, what do buyers actually look for when they're getting into home insurance, some of the questions they have. Also, what about the car insurance and insurance in general? You got life insurance, you got home insurance, sometimes bundling them together. So there's a lot of information out there that people want to know about, right?
Always a good idea. Always a good idea.
Always.
There's all kinds of different ways to do it.
So also we have Mr. Matt Shield. What's up, buddy? How are you?
I'm well, thank you for asking. Doing
Appreciate
good.
you back, man. You got the best seat in the house. Look at this view right here, man.
Thank you.
You just got done working out or what?
I'm gonna go actually.
You're gonna go?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna go.
What have you been up to, man? You've been three day weekend. What's going on, man?
I had my sons Friday. I don't know. They just spoiled basically. We went out dinner. My son got a gaming computer.
Oh, he did. Cool, man. How was that?
We haven't plugged it all in yet because I needed to get a 50-foot Ethernet cable.
Okay.
But it's pretty tricked out. He's pretty stoked. And then
Is he?
my other son.
Make sure you insure that.
Yeah. Yes,
Right?
of course. And then my other son, I caught him red-handed in a stealing.
Oh, what did he steal, man?
He stole $500 off my credit card over like 2 months.
Wow. How did he do that? You didn't know about it?
I set it up. I created the situation.
Sounds like karma from helping
and
folks
then what happened
with
was
the G place.
I noticed that he started acting like a crack addict, like ordering games. And so it started small and then he started escalating and it was only like $10 or $15 at a time.
Mm-hmm.
But like by the last 2 weeks, he was ordering like $30, $40, like it just escalated. So
Yeah.
I nipped that in the bud. And there's going to be a repercussion for that, but we haven't decided what it is.
So how did he get the credit card? Like, was it
I gave it to him.
You gave it to him?
No, I didn't give it to him, but it was on the account.
Okay.
So like, there's this thing.
So he thought it was free, and every time
No, he knew what he was doing.
Look at all this free stuff.
He knew what he was doing, and then at first he said, "Dad, I must have got hacked," and I was like, "Well,
I have to use that.
I was like,
I
if
have
you
to
got
use that too.
hacked." That's a bigger problem for you because that means I can never give you a credit card again.
You got
and
hacked.
so I want you to think carefully for 2 minutes because if you didn't get hacked and you did this, and you're gonna own it. There's gonna be a penalty, but there's some light at the end of the tunnel. But if you got hacked, you're gonna have to get a credit card and pay for your own.
Do you ever think there's going to be a point where he's going to outsmart you?
I doubt it. I doubt it,
sure?
but he thinks so.
He did
But
for
like,
$500.
Hey,
I've
man,
done
he's-
much worse. I've done much worse than he has.
Right.
So I wasn't angry about it, but there's
Right.
going to be a penalty.
So we also have Mrs. Sharon Cho. What's going on, Mrs. Sharon Cho, over here?
It's a miss.
Mrs. Sorry.
Oh,
Miss.
oh,
It's Miss.
no, I think you're supposed to say Ms.
Ms.
That's like
Is that right?
neutral.
Ms. Ms. What's going on with you?
Nothing much. I had fun over the weekend
What did you do?
showing homes.
You showed homes?
No, kidding.
Are you
Yes.
like a workaholic where you like show like you're one of those people you wake up
She's from Korea.
and she's
Yeah.
tapping her arm like
I gotta get to work. I don't know what else to do but work.
There's no such thing as fun.
No, there's a
Yeah.
no, that's not fair.
She's
but
dodging family.
Korean girls are hardworking.
We are.
And that's good.
yeah, that's a
it is
good thing.
working.
Good.
That's a
It's
good
good.
thing to
Yeah,
have.
yeah.
So
But you gotta
so what
have
did you
fun.
end up doing like as far as like besides work? Did you like was there downtime? I mean, do you have family?
There was downtime. I bought 3 different types of ice cream at Albertsons. Yeah.
You bought 3 different types of ice creams at
Yeah.
Albertsons?
Yeah, I had
What
Haagen-Dazs.
That explains the home workout today.
Yes, there you go. I bought Haagen-Dazs, just coffee from Haagen-Dazs.
That's
and
cool.
Then Baskin
So
Robbins.
do you have like a binge night, like when it's like, hey, you know what, like nobody's around, they're not going to see me, you know what I mean? And it's like I'm
On the
gonna
DL.
take these all out, like 6 of them, right?
Yeah.
Is that
Well,
what-
I then downloaded Tomorrow War. Have you guys seen Tomorrow War?
Yeah, I've seen
Oh yeah, that was pretty
decent.
good.
It was.
Yeah.
I was actually pleasantly surprised. I thought it was gonna be so cheesy, but I got really
It was
into
okay.
It.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was good.
Do you guys ever feel like when you're in Vegas, right, that it's like, you know what, I don't want to go out when there's a big weekend like this because you
that's
feel like
so
you're
true.
you're gonna be in the
Absolutely.
pack of like
Well,
the wolves, you know? It's
Well-
everybody's out there trying to get theirs, and you're
Yeah.
just out there. You might get eaten. You know what
I
I mean?
was gonna do. I was gonna
You
do.
might get eaten. Oh,
I was
wow.
gonna do a staycation at the Westin, and then
Yeah.
I looked at the room rates, and they were asking like 500 a room.
Oh,
For
it's obscene.
Western?
No, you know, in Lake
Anywhere
Las
in town,
Vegas.
yeah.
Yes,
the
yes.
three
of us.
Oh, yeah.
No way.
Yeah,
no,
I was like, there was no
absolutely not.
way that I was gonna do
I
that.
believe that. Oh, like Las Vegas.
I mean, I
It's
believe it, but
outrageous.
there's no way I'm paying.
No way.
Let's introduce Esmeralda Lucia. Esmeralda, you went out to San Diego, huh?
I did.
What did you do out there? Did you get some sun? You look like you got a little sun.
I guess I did. Everybody's saying that. Yeah, I got some sun. I was at the beach.
Well, that's
hanging
what
out.
happens when you're at the beach,
was
right?
just, yeah.
I mean, you can't really go anywhere. The sun's going to find you at the beach.
Yeah, I was hoping. I was like, find me, please. No.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. To me, I was, looking around. I was seeing all this. There's accidents everywhere, chaos in Vegas. Like,
Hey, I was at a boat.
I'm good. I'm
Hanging
gonna,
out.
I'm gonna hang out on the down low. I'm not gonna go out. Did you go out at all?
I went out Saturday night. I went to Area 15 to like,
Oh, I see.
How
to
was
like
that?
an outdoor rave.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah. It
Oh
was,
my God, I haven't heard about a rave
it
in
was,
years.
it was actually okay. I only stayed for like 3 hours.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
So you don't have people going crazy out there, did you? Like, I mean,
There
I've never
was
been to a
some
rave. Like
people-
when
there was
raves.
some people, but it was it's like an Area 15, so it's a highly controlled environment.
Okay.
I do know that there is a rave this evening on Jean Lake Bed, which I will not be in attendance to.
So you're not gonna go out there, man, and just rough it? Like,
no, I would love it.
Rough
I
it, throw
mean,
a pill.
I'm sure
What it
everybody
is-
was wearing their masks
so
out there as
what
well.
it is it's the Burning Man people are doing
Oh,
doing
yeah.
a refresher rave on the lake bed tonight
I see.
Practice. Pre-game.
Pregame. That's
to
right.
keep it going.
Dude, speaking of pregame, I mean, they got UNLV football, right? It's out going on right now. Do you
I was
guys
at the
you guys
game.
follow that stuff?
Yeah, I was at the game on Thursday.
How'd that go?
Not well. They lost in overtime.
I have no idea what
not
happens
well.
with UNLV football. Like
I follow them both.
I
They
barely
suck.
follow
It's
anything.
simple.
I have had season tickets there for basketball since 1983 when the Thomas and Mack opened, and I always go to any football game that I can get to when my kids aren't playing baseball.
Yeah.
But it hurts when they lose, especially to a team like that. So it's not fun. But I was surrounded by 30,000 of my closest friends who are all frustrated.
100%, yeah. So I want to say this, guys. Today we're going to talk with Carl about insurance. We talked about that. We're also going to give you an update on what's going on in the housing market. So I want to talk a lot about with Carl, though, on just the difference of insurance. I have a lot of people that come in and they ask for home insurance. They go, when do I get this process going? A lot of times it's, deep into the contract position that they're in. Maybe they're, don't know where to get started. So it's always like, Dan, you got any referrals? You got anybody that you can send me to? And it's like, well,
Very often it's the last thing that people think about. They're so worried about the
Yeah, they-
pricing and the house and everything.
exactly.
Like it's like, oh crap, I need some insurance.
so Carl, you grew up here? Is that right? How did you
Pretty
get
much since
started?
77. Yeah, I moved out here from New Jersey via Tucson for a year. Yeah, my brother and I both went to KO and graduated from Chaparral in 82 and then UNLV in 88.
Wow.
So I've been here a long, long time. In fact,
Did
I
you
worked for
say-
UNLV for years.
Did you say kale?
No, I said Chaparral.
Oh, I thought you
Yeah,
said kale.
CHAPARRAL.
I thought you said kale.
Do you want to write that down?
No. I'm sorry. I just heard kale.
Kale's not good.
Okay.
If you blanch it, it might
Does
be
it
okay, but it seems like a
does
lot
it-
of trouble.
If you eat a lot of kale, do you get better insurance?
Yeah. Tell me, your rate goes up 20% every time you eat kale. I'll do a surcharge. Spinach or kale, either one.
Okay.
Do you ever see those old images? Like they got some stuff on Facebook too, and some old images of Las Vegas. Like you've seen
I
it
have some in my
grow
office.
through the
Yeah,
years.
yeah.
So you see this,
It's
right? You've
awesome.
seen all these
Yeah.
things and all these changes that's happened with Las Vegas over the years.
Awesome.
What
I was a runner downtown when Rainbow was a 2-lane dirt road.
you were a runner? Runner for what?
A lawyer.
Oh,
Downtown, yeah. You used to park in the First Interstate Bank building, or when it was First
wow.
National Bank, just right on.
so how far did you see this expand out since you've been here? Like where did it start, and now where have you seen it?
Crap, we used to go to Gold's Gym when it used to be Garrett's Furniture on Maryland Parkway and Fremont, and you can get from UNLV to there in 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right down
wow.
Maryland Parkway. Once upon a time.
Once
Once upon a time. Like where the airport is, nothing was on the other side of the airport.
Wasn't
She's
Meadows Mall the first strip mall, big strip mall?
The Boulevard was, and then when the
Boulevard.
Meadows,
No, that's what I
then
meant
when the
to
Meadows
say. That's what
opened,
I
then the
meant to-
Boulevard tried to expand.
Yeah, that's it.
Right, and then what happened? And then you got the fashion show downtown,
Yeah.
and then
Different
everything
times.
just went crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you've seen a lot of the changes. You look at Las Vegas and you see how it's growing. Do you
Always had
feel?
expensive insurance here, though?
Yeah, is that right?
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. So
Always.
why is there this stigma out there that car insurance is higher here than other states? And you probably have a good explanation.
Because
Because
it,
of the lawyers.
because it really is. Well, the lawyers are certainly one of them. Yeah, the lawyers, the combination of the underwriters that determine the pricing have no idea what it's like here. They're in Iowa or someplace else. So,
makes sense.
they're saying, well, it's a 24-hour town. Everybody drinks. It's like, yeah, but those are the tourists. I mean, you get the taxis out there, the drunk driving. But mostly, I mean, Matt's pretty right.
Yeah,
pretty much
litigious.
right. There's
One of the
no
most
limit
litigious
on the
states.
amount of money that they can pay. And so the lawyers are out there advertising right and left. But I'd like to think if you have good insurance, you don't need a lawyer. I mean, the fact of the matter is upgrade your insurance
I
so if
mean,
something happens, you get
Makes
paid.
sense.
That's not true.
Makes
I mean, in my experience, okay, in my
Boom.
experience,
Yes.
I think
No,
I'm,
no,
I think I'm
Mike's
gonna
here,
jump
yes.
on
that's
this.
why I changed it to in my experience, right? I had was State Farm. I kissed the back of a bumper, and a police officer saw it. Nothing, no damage to anyone. Couple teachers, Clark County School District teachers, cops saw it. Everyone was like, "We're good, we're good, everyone's good." And then like 3 months later, I'm getting sued, and there was no
That's the karma for the
and,
Jeep.
and there was no damage, right? And then State Farm settled, even though it was an absurd claim. And what happened was
Was it a parked
they
car?
just settled.
I'm confused.
No, I could tell you some stories
They
about that.
settled, and then they dropped me because there was a claim.
Talk about those stories.
No.
I got dropped too from State Farm.
Yeah.
Yeah, State Farm, the captive insurance companies are kind of a pain in the ass. That's
Yeah.
why, can I say that?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
That's why I like being a broker, because
Love it.
I have 20 different companies. So if State Farm's going to screw you like that, then you call me. You don't have to call 100 different people to find out,
Yeah,
what your
one
insurance
of my
rate is. I
sisters-
farm it all out.
What I'm saying is,
Got in an accident,
With
I
the
got
legal, with the legal part, that's the frivolity
Frivolous?
of like lawsuits,
Yeah.
and like I know some personal injury attorneys, and like they have like what the Harris law firm is probably the biggest one in town. They probably have like I don't know how many few thousand active cases, but they just throw paper at it, and then the attorneys take some money. Most claims are just cut and dry, but the attorneys will just drag it out and take their cut. You know.
It's true. They take about 40%.
Yeah.
But the deal is, listen, just the other day, $10,000 claim, no damage to the vehicle. So it was all personal injury claim. So you can't
Pain and
tell
suffering.
me, you cannot tell me that I hit you in the bumper $10,000 worth and there's no damage to your car, but your neck hurts that much.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just people doing it, and it's cheaper to settle than it is.
To drag
So
it out.
so is it really like, hey, my neck got twisted and I'm calling? You know what I mean? Like,
We were
hey,
talking-
Dan
we were
always
talking-
comes in with
I feel a
moves.
little twitch.
It is now.
You know what I mean?
It is
All
now.
right.
When the market's down or when things happen bad, those claims go sky high. Yeah. It's like, soft muscle injury. Yeah.
And then
I
it's
gotta-
like,
I
and then
gotta
they
put
go
a claim
through
in.
this like whole massaging thing that really doesn't do anything. It's just like, hey,
Chiropractors,
go to see my
chiropractors,
massager
Get
because right?
rocks.
So my friend does like financing for it's called legal loans. So he lends people money so they can hold out longer and settle for a higher amount on their
Right.
case.
Oh, wow.
And they're all in cahoots, like the chiropractors, the surgeons.
I agree.
Like it's all a thing where you go into the system and
Is
they're
this
all
a conversation
paying
you're
each
supposed to have on YouTube?
other. No.
No, I don't know. I mean, listen.
Different in cahoots.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait a minute.
Hey, we're giving it
Stay
real,
with
man.
us,
We're
says
telling you how it is.
What-
Like,
what-
you can like it or not, but that's exactly what happens.
That's the reality. That's
See,
why the
it's
insurance
true.
is so high.
One
One of the reasons.
Right.
I
But
mean,
it
you
doesn't
walk
have
in-
to involve an attorney, right? It doesn't.
you're right.
They did this $10,000 claim without an attorney because the insurance company just wanted to settle. And when things are bad and unemployment's
Right.
high and people have the time and people have
Right.
the money, everything goes sky high.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the mafia, man.
So
You walk
even-
in.
There's so
Yeah.
much money in it that there's this thing. It's totally legal. It's called capping, where like people give attorneys lawsuits, and like a Nevada highway patrolman that's like doing this can make like an extra 10 grand a month.
No way.
Yeah, but from
Really?
from when people have accidents.
And that's a backdoor way. And if somebody finds out about that,
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
but
that's
Somebody's
I
gonna
think
get
that's what I'm
Okay,
saying.
wait a minute. Repeat that.
Are,
What just
are
happened?
we talking about what really happens in this city?
I want to talk about it. Let's talk about it.
So what
now.
happens is you can get paid.
I knew a guy who.
Attorneys pay
So
for
what
cases,
happened?
and so if you're in a position like you're an ER nurse or you're like on the intake of a hospital, or you're someone to do with a first responder, and you can touch an incident and then get all their information, then that information is very valuable, and someone will pay for that information if they catch a case from it.
Yeah,
You
actually, I just had something going down last Saturday where we talked about information and how easy accessible it is, right? I think, was it Facebook had somebody that was a 12-year-old kid, not even part of Facebook, but they have all of his information. No joke.
Yeah,
But you know why? Because they probably
his
have their
credit card,
parents.
like $500 so he can get.
Yeah,
some stuff
exactly.
off his
And I think his last name was Shield. And I'm just So let's go.
Definitely not a coincidence.
Yeah, Dylan Chill.
You're right.
Right.
All right, let's go back into this. So let's get back on track here. All right.
Point till we lose
So
control.
what's going on with the deductibles? What happens with like how people really get into finding the right insurance company, and how would they seek you out? So
Well, you can seek me out real easy. It's online. You can get
On
my
Facebook.
information anywhere.
Yeah.
Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah. Instagram, anywhere. We're trying to oversaturate the market as much as we can. We even have some bad television commercials out there on 8.5 and.
hey man, but you know
telling them-
what? You got to put it out there. It's branding.
But here's
So-
most people. What we found out throughout the years is most people are very price sensitive. They'll say $50, but once they get to know the agent, their loyalty is more to the agent than to the company. So if you have a bunch of different companies, and somebody says, "Hey, I call them. I go, look, we did it with you. You didn't like your rate. You were unhappy. You called us up.
Damn,
I
you
was
saying you're cheap?
upset.
Yeah,
It was like
It was a 45-minute phone call.
yes, I was upset.
Yeah.
So
But we made it better because
Yes.
we have a bunch of different companies. So
What did
just
you
got
do?
A better rate.
Yo,
okay,
what's your
so
Something
What
happened.
happened?
Something happened.
something happened, and I'll just kind of go in a little bit of a detail. But basically, we had two cars.
You know
and
when it
they're-
starts with
So
but
what happened
basically.
was-
And
Once upon a
so
time.
we had two cars that were really good cars, right? They're
Yeah.
nice cars. And
Yeah.
so what ended up happening was is
Why do I feel like
one
this
of the
story is
cars
just getting bad?
was in park, and somehow it went out of park and hit the other car.
Oh,
no.
what?
And I'm sitting there, and it really
In your
did some
driveway?
damage. But
In your
yeah,
driveway?
in the driveway.
Okay,
And
wait a minute. And
Go
no
ahead.
one was
Any-
driving the car?
no, it was a ghost driver.
Now listen, look at
Popped
me.
out of
I'm
park.
switching my thing on. Was there alcohol involved?
No, I would be. Listen, I would
believe you.
probably be okay with
I
that.
actually have a lie detector,
Yeah.
and you're telling the truth.
Yes. And so I'm telling you right now. So check this out.
Okay,
my
well-
insurance, my
Why did I
insurance
not buy this? Okay.
went up,
Insurance doubled almost.
doubled, and I was so pissed off. I really was. Like I was
Well-
like, you know what?
Because there wasn't alcohol involved. You'd been much saner if there was.
Yeah, I mean, listen. If I could at least say, well, at least there's a reason, right? And at this
People
point,
have run into their garage. And they're,
well, I didn't do that. I
No,
mean, we
no,
just
but
let
I'm
the
saying
cars
there
run
was
into
some-
each other.
yeah,
So-
they just
I've done that.
Here, you guys just. Oh, okay.
no, but
backed
it
into
was
their
just
mother-in-law
it was.
in the driveway.
It's the problem is that they were nice cars that when they hit, obviously it's expensive to fix those nice cars. So I think it was more expensive, and then it really raised it because is it true that the cost of when you get into an accident actually increases quite a bit, right?
Oh yeah, it's twice as expensive to replace the car parts than it is to buy a car new.
Yeah.
So why not just give them a check?
Well, that's what they do now. I mean, if they total it out. So in his particular situation, he lost the no claim discount. He lost the.
I
Dan,
lost
what
my
are
life.
you doing? What's going on in your
No,
household?
then all of a
Like-
sudden, yeah, and then all of a sudden he had this amount of money that they paid out, so they increased the rate to try and get it back. But we found another company that was much cheaper that way. The stupidity of it is like I'm not going to name any companies like Travelers, who I had a homeowners insurance policy with,
Oh, I knew somebody had that.
who
insurance.
there was a fire,
Yes.
and there was a giant claim on it. And all of a sudden, they cancel these people. Instead of gently, if you raise the rate a little bit and you take care of these people, it's customer service. We're all in customer service.
Yeah.
If you take care of your client and you explain what's going on, you'll get that money back eventually. But if you just decide to cancel it now, we don't want you because you're a higher risk. The stupidity of it is beyond me. How do you just say, okay, we'll take care of you, we'll pay $100,000, or we'll fix your car for $25,000, but we don't want you around anymore?
Yeah.
It's like if they raised him a little bit, just enough, he'd understand that.
No, of course.
And he'd have stayed with them. But,
He would have stayed.
But what you do, the problem with...
Dude, it was...
The thing is, this wasn't.
I went to sleep crying at night. Okay, so that's what really happened at that time for
thought
a
of-
week
you were
straight.
like, that's
And
Starbucks.
I called Carl like 3 or 4 times a day. You know, I was like, Carl, I'm upset. Carl, please help
How
me.
much damage
Carl.
was there?
It wasn't much.
Yeah.
It really
It was
wasn't.
actually about 20,000 between the two cars.
No, it wasn't even that.
Yeah.
It was only about 5.
What happened? Like,
It just popped out of the... It just
wasn't-
popped out of gear and rolled into the other
Yeah.
car.
kidding.
That's all it was.
What kind of car is
And it
this? I
wasn't
don't want to
even-
buy that car.
It was a Lexus.
So
Yeah.
It
this
was
is
a
a
Lexus.
personal question. Do you know how to park it?
Well, here's the deal. I do now.
Hey, I have a Lexus. Wait a
Secret
minute.
is using the emergency brake. Yeah.
See, the thing is when
I
I,
love
went in
my
there,
Lexus.
I get in there and I'm shoving it. And I'm
Do,
like,
do,
dude,
do,
I'm out of
any of
here.
us use the emergency brake? Do you use the emergency brake?
I sure do, actually.
I never do. Never do.
Am I not
Do you use
supposed
it?
to?
I
Should
do.
not?
I do
No,
if I'm
he
if I'm
used the
parking
emergency
up.
brake,
Right, I
you
get what
wouldn't
you
have the
mean.
claim.
Yes, of course.
So yeah, even when you're parking
I
in your
do.
driveway, use the emergency brake. Cars are getting stolen out of garages. You know what? When school's out, car thefts rise by 40%. Kids are bored.
I'm going to tell you the truth, though. It really wasn't even a hard dent. It was literally like you could pop it out, but they wanted to replace the whole thing. So like either I can cut a
They,
check,
as in the insurance
the
company?
insurance
Oh,
company.
gosh, of
So
course
then they
did.
wanted to do that. So it was really nothing crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It really wasn't, honestly.
I got hit by a realtor. I'm not gonna say who, but so
Were
she
you-
did a
were
hit
you-
and run.
Were you
Matt.
rear-ended?
Yeah, I was. No, I wasn't.
What? She did a hit and run?
Yeah, so I was at. I
Different
was
connotation.
okay. So I was at realtor. Let me tell you my story. Okay,
They ain't over yet.
so you know what? I am so tired. Okay, can I finish my
Hurry
story?
up.
Okay,
Yeah,
Please do.
All right, go ahead.
So-
go ahead.
so I was at Realty One in the Northwest. I'll say that.
Okay, I already know who it is. Let's get-
And I had my car, my little Lexus parked. Needless to say, I had just got my car, and I'm driving. No, I'm walking out to my car, and I see a group of realtors, women, pulling out,
Oh, no.
and I'm just watching them, and I'm like, is she gonna stop? Or she did. She stopped in my car, and she hits my car, and I'm like, hey. So she gets out. She's like, "Oh my God, girl, I hit your car." No shit. Like, yeah, you hit my car.
Why is
You
that
wanna
always?
tweet that?
Why does always the first response is, "Oh my God, I hit your car"? It's like I thought we already knew this. Like you don't got to come out of your car and say you hit my car, right? So go ahead.
So, we exchange information, and because it was in a private parking,
No cops.
yeah, so I couldn't call the cops. And this wasn't at the time, like, you know how now cops don't show up to the scene now, it's like you're dead, literally.
They didn't
Yeah.
care.
And so I'm like, okay, like, this is weird. I've never had somebody hit my parked car. Like, okay. So I take her information, she takes mine, I call her, and I call her insurance. Do you know that she denied that I hit her car, and because she had another realtor, I lost
That's
that?
the reason you always take pictures.
No, I did. I took pictures. I sent it and everything.
Pictures of her car hitting your car.
I
Or
don't
just
remember if I
your
did. No,
damage?
I did. I still lost because she had a witness and I didn't.
You should have called. Had I known you, you should have called me. I'd have called the
Now we
police
know to
for you.
call Carl.
Yeah.
So you look at Las Vegas, right? And we're talking about accidents, and we're going to talk about home insurance because it does coincide with each other.
That's screwed up.
Yeah, it is. It is very much. And then, so the premiums here, is it because we're a 24-hour town? I mean, is that really, because I hear that a lot.
That's the excuse they give, but I think it's just because so much money is paid out. They have so many variables that they put into the formula before they figure it out, and a lot of it is based on zip code. Like if there's more claims in 014 or 122.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that why when
you
I
can
so
get
when
a
I get
way
a call,
better rate
yeah.
in Boulder City than you can here, and it's still Nevada. And
Really?
Mesquite, very cheap.
Huh. So like if I said my zip code and let's say I moved.
Well, you know,
And then-
they're
and-
smarter than that now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So just get a PO box. Does that matter?
People have
'Cause I
tried
do
that.
have one,
People have
I
tried that,
guess.
and they've asked for the power bill to that PO box, so it doesn't work. You can't
they're
do
getting
it. Okay, so this PO box in Mesquite.
Yeah, but I had
we're
all my
showing her
utilities
over
on
here.
my PO box before. I mean, not because of that. I don't like people knowing my address. I'm very private, and people are
Probably with
very
your luck,
nosy.
somebody's going to run into you, and you're not going to get away with it.
No, I mean, I never used it for that. I used like my mom's address.
Zip
and
codes,
stuff.
even with, we'll go full circle here for you, even with homeowners insurance, zip codes vary according to the claims in that particular area. Okay, so like if you have a series of rainstorms or hailstorms in that particular area and there's a lot of roof damage, the next year, anybody in that zip code, you're going to see an increase.
That makes sense.
Even in California right now, with all those fires going on out there, we're going to get hit big time. Because as capitalistic as you think insurance is, it's really socialism at its best, because we all pay into one big pile.
So we pay for people's bad things that happen, basically.
They all got to make money, right? They all
Yes.
got to make
Wow.
money. So the bigger the claim, the more everybody else has to pay for it, because they can't afford that. I mean,
No.
Oh, wow.
yeah, they can't afford that.
So it matters where you live then.
It matters where you live. Right now, with the price of wood, what it is,
Yes, we need
everybody's
to
going to
move.
get bumped a little bit up. Actually, house insurance here is pretty inexpensive compared to other places.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
Texas, Florida, it's miserable. California, you have to get separate earthquake in California, and it's almost more expensive sometimes than your mortgage payment, depending on where you are.
Right.
Oh, wow.
But the afterthought for people when they're generally getting their mortgage and everything else is insurance. It's usually when the mortgage person or the escrow person looks at them and goes, okay, so how much are you going to pay for insurance? Because we have to figure this into what your monthly is going to be. And they're hoping it's $50, $60,
Right.
but depending on the square footage of the house or the location of the house. And if the house was built in the 80s, you're going to get spiked. Piping, right? The PVC piping.
Yes.
Right? The water that they used to water the grass with, if they have bushes against the house, you could see all that deteriorating.
So it goes back to like what is the cost to rebuild the home? That's what it always comes down to, right?
Right, and you have to remember the slab doesn't burn and the property's not going to burn. Okay, so if you're rebuilding the house, it's a rebuilding cost, not a market value. So the market right now is going through the roof, but the rebuilding cost is not what the market value is.
So a newer home may have more or a higher
newer
premium.
home is always less.
Less.
Because there's less likely to be any damage.
I see. So it's almost like medical insurance, right? Or some, right?
Yeah, the
Little
newer
bit.
you are, the cheaper
Right.
it's going to be.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Right?
Yeah, you can look at it that way. That's a good one.
So yeah, I think so. If you're out there and let's say you're looking for like bundling, how much does bundling really support or help
I
you?
think bundling is just a marketing term, isn't it? It's
No,
just
it actually works.
Really?
Yeah.
It's like, the bundle.
yeah. Well, Flo's a bit overwhelming with that kind of shit. But
Talk to us about this
I
bundle.
want to hear about the bundle.
okay, the original concept of bundling is based on customer service, because if you have 3 lines of business with somebody, the odds of them going somewhere else is nil, because nobody wants to pull their house,
much
their car, their
hassle to speak
it's a
to another
pain in the-
person.
Yeah, exactly.
You
So
know?
if I could bundle, right? If I could get
It's just
3
the
lines
term,
from you, Matt,
just a word.
I pretty much got you for the next 10 years. All right.
Yeah,
But
so- but-
what they have done hold on one sec. So they have got some incentive though, because you can get 7% on the cars. I've seen 10% like right now
really?
Mercury Insurance. Yeah, it is cheaper because there'll be a price for just the home, and there'll be a price for just the cars, and then there's a separate price for both. And it is, yeah, I mean, if you want to save $50, $100 a year,
Yeah,
there's value in
There's some
it.
value there.
There was a
But the
yeah.
trick is sometimes it doesn't work that way depending on your driving record.
Yeah.
Right? If you've got a couple accidents or you have a ticket or you have kids, my God, if you have a 16-year-old boy, forget it. Your price is going to be through the roof. But you might want to shop somewhere else, because the discount you might get in a bundle is not what you would get if you did it separately.
Why wouldn't you like? I mean, I think everybody's trying to look for the cheapest, right? I mean, people don't really go into it and go, well, because I think there was like a comedian that said insurance is like in case shit happens, right? I mean, that's what the slogan
Well,
is, right?
you don't
Right?
need it unless something happens.
Yeah, and
but
so-
when something happens,
You need it.
you better have it.
Okay, so how does somebody shop for that, right? So they go out there and they're shopping, and let's say,
Value,
yeah. So you guys as a broker versus say I'm going to call State Farm themselves as a company.
Right.
Cook Insurance is going to call around and say, okay, I'm going to call everybody,
Yeah.
and find out who has the lowest premium. And does people typically go with the lowest premium?
Yeah, usually they do, particularly a new homeowner. I mean, when you're very price sensitive, new drivers, kids who are most likely going to get in accidents anyway. The thing that makes me crazy, you guys seen this Liberty Mutual
Yes.
commercial? Oh,
Pay for what you need.
Guys,
Hey, but
how
you-
the hell do you know what you need until you get in an accident?
Exactly.
Hey, you guys see that guy with the deep voice though? He looks like
Yes.
What's his name?
I don't know, but it's for
Well,
is it
Uh,
the
Allstate.
Allstate?
Allstate.
Yes.
State, yeah.
Yeah.
I love that commercial.
Don't you love that? Like his
You
voice,
His voice
like
is so
him.
soothing.
he could put
Yeah.
me to sleep, man.
I
It's
know.
Yeah,
All
I feel
right,
so
come
safe
on.
with that.
yes. See,
Yes.
Another
Well,
thing.
it's a calming.
Well,
that's a marketing
and
tactic.
it's
It is a
all
marketing
marketing
thing.
because they tell you Allstate, but they don't tell you who to go to Allstate. They don't tell you what to buy. So if you're, if you're price sensitive and you want just liability, great.
Well-
That's all the state says that you need, right? But if you get in an accident and have just liability, kiss your car goodbye.
Yeah. So another thing I've learned is that with a good independent agent, they'll also, if you've got like 20 carriers, then you know what the limits are, what's normal and what you need, and what there's limits you can get that you don't have to pay extra for. But if you're with a carrier, like the independent agent will be like, oh, you don't want those limits, get these. Like uninsured driver or...
Well, uninsured, underinsured motorist fools people, and the insurance companies really want you to have it because that's their kind of cash cow.
Yeah.
Because that covers, it doesn't cover your car. It covers your medical if you're hit by somebody that doesn't have insurance or doesn't have enough insurance, the uninsured, underinsured motorist. So when we put that into the system, say you want 100 liability, 300 total, and then 100 property damage, they want you to match that uninsured, underinsured motorist with 100, 300. But it's a rare occasion when you're going to need it. That's where those lawyers that you're talking about.
What's the biggest insurance claim that one of these insurance companies that you maybe dealt with has paid out?
Well,
Tell the truth.
Yeah. Right. I'm just.
Can they get red bottoms? No,
I saw $1.5 million paid out on a drunk driving thing.
$1.5 million.
Yeah,
did somebody die?
Policy. No.
Oh,
Wow.
And that's the good news. But I mean, when you think $1.5 million, you go, oh, somebody died. They didn't. They just paid it out because he had the umbrella policy. They go, okay, here's what it is, and everything got involved, and they wanted to pay now, but the car was $50,000 or something like that.
Do we have more accidents here, you think, than other states though, or other cities?
No, I think California, New Jersey, and New York are pretty tough. But
Is it because of population, obviously, right?
Yeah, it's population, it's density, it's the fender benders, it's who's going to put a claim in, and that's why you were asking about deductibles earlier. If you got $1,000 deductible, it's not worth anything. Fix it yourself. If it's only $1,000 or even $2,000, like you called it right into the insurance company right away when you had your incident. If you just fixed it yourself, I wouldn't be sitting here. Probably.
Well, here's my thing. No, I mean, listen, I'm going to tell you
guys.
guys.
If there's only $1,000,
Carl
just
Cook-
fix it.
What did your partner think about this?
She thought, well, you know what? I guess we're going to have to give one of the cars back. And that's where it started. And I say, no. We'll take care of it. I'm just playing. She's like,
she's holding the sign, poor thing.
Fix it.
No. You know what it is we did the math.
It wasn't your fault. Like it was.
It was nobody's fault.
Yeah.
Actually, nobody was even in the car. It was actually a freak accident.
Those are the most
Did
frustrating.
it happen overnight?
No, it was sitting there and it was parked and for whatever reason, and it didn't
Did you see it happen?
No, I see the tail end of it because I had my garage open and we were working.
You just saw it move.
And I saw it move. Nobody was in it.
God.
So then it was weird because it was sitting there and it just kind of like creeped back and then it just kind of hit. But it wasn't like it was going like 10 miles an hour. It was like, man, it was like creeping, and then it hit. So
Weird.
A word of advice: if you're in an accident and somebody hits you from behind, they're rear-ended as well. They're probably going to get a ticket. So if the cops don't come,
it's at fault.
But if the cops don't come, take the pictures of it, but put it on their insurance. Don't call your insurance company because then you lose your no-claim discount. It's their fault. It's their liability. Don't go if it's your insurance. I'll just call my insurance company.
I would make them walk the line.
You call them. You call their insurance company because they're the ones that are going to pay it.
Yeah.
As soon as they get involved in subrogation, it turns into a hassle, and your rates will go up until everything is subrogated and paid back. It's a giant pain in the ass. Homeowners policies are a little bit different than autos because it's different liability. But if a car runs into your wall, that's the car's liability that needs to pay that.
That's crazy. So let's talk about home insurance and some of the deductibles that you deal with.
Yeah.
Now there's $1,000 deductible. There's a $1,500. There's $2,000.
Yeah.
Right. If somebody calls into you, right? Some people don't want some of this. Like if somebody breaks into their house, they get their stuff stolen. There's insurance for that too, right? I mean, does that all encompass everything? How does that all work?
Yeah, it's a $1,000 deductible for any claim. So whether the house burns down or you have a jewelry theft, unless it's a scheduled piece of jewelry. I mean, if you got a Rolex, you need to do a set.
So it doesn't matter like the amount, or I guess it doesn't matter the price range of the home, or it does. Like, so if you live like in $1 million home, does that mean like your deductible should be $2,000 or?
No, it depends on you. If you're living in a $1 million home, I'm guessing it's a gated community. I'm guessing you don't have to worry about theft near as much as you would if you lived, somewhere where it's a little more risky in one of those zip codes. So typically what happens is if you're in a high risk area, your price is going to be a little bit higher than it is if you're in a low risk area. for example, $1 million home, if you're paying $1,000 of percentages or $2,000 for insurance to cover that, versus a $300,000 home and you're paying $600 or $700, you see the percentages there. It's a little bit different because something bad happening in a bigger house is less likely than something happening. And it depends on how many people are in there, how many kids you got in there. Are you a smoker or non-smoker? I mean, since smoking has really gone down to a minimal, there's been a lot less house fires. Because I remember when I was a kid, people used to fall asleep with the cigarettes and the house used to catch fire.
Well, I got life insurance once, and I was like...
Once?
Yeah. So, and then...
he's on his 9th life, so 9 lives like a cat.
Good. I got life insurance once too.
I already paid.
Still got it.
So we did the medical, and I'm like thinking that I'm really fit, right? And then on the chart is the BMI, the body mass index.
Oh, that sucks.
And guess what?
That's old school.
That on their chart it says that I'm morbidly obese.
I am too. 6 feet tall, 190 pounds. I'm obese.
5'10". I'm
Yeah.
5'10".
Yeah.
Like back then I was like 210 pounds, but now I'm like 205. But on the scale, there's no allowance for like
Muscle. Yeah.
heavy legs or something like that.
Heavy legs.
I'm like, it's heavy legs.
Heavy thighs.
Legs.
I don't know, but we're going to be saying that when somebody walks
That's
by.
that's a scam.
That woman has heavy legs. Yeah,
Heavy
she's
legs.
Heavy legs. I don't know that it's a scam, but
there
are other ways
there are
to
some
do it.
really morbidly obese people.
You should
that
be
are
having
morbidly
lettuce.
obese.
And
know?
they can't get insurance.
They can't get insurance.
No, it's damn near impossible
that
for
like
somebody like, well, the likelihood of them dying.
really?
Hey, listen, insurance companies are in this for the money. We're all in it for the money. I mean, but insurance
I'm in it
companies
just
are
to
for the
help.
money.
So
You're the
Oh,
one.
wow.
I knew there was one.
just
Thank you, Dan. I knew there was
He's
one.
just so sweet.
He's in it to
give
help all of
this
us.
guy, right?
Yeah.
If someone's really unhealthy, and you know they're unhealthy,
Well, it comes
And
back
they-
to the health insurance. Though.
I know, but this is a question. Could you get a life insurance policy on them with their permission to have a bet to see if they're going to die? Is that possible?
Well, they do put a bet. So
No, it is a bet, but like, could you bet?
Essentially, it's all a bet.
it is a bet.
Yeah, but if
so
you think
one of
someone's
my
living a
exes
risky
did that
life-
for a living.
If they're,
What
If
if
there's
yours
a
is
bet and you're like,
what betting
you're
on people
most
to
likely
die?
to die.
Yeah, well, that's what life insurance is.
Yeah, I know.
They
but could-
rate it according to when they think your longevity is ended. Listen, life insurance is a great idea if you have kids or somebody to give it to. It's a great idea.
Yeah.
I had life insurance once.
Once.
That's what I'm saying.
I still have it.
Yeah.
But my kids are my beneficiaries because
Yeah.
I want to make sure that they go through college. I want to make sure the house. I mean,
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
things that you have to prepare for.
Yeah.
And just a question of, well, you're obese, you need to get it, doesn't work. it's I need to put this in my
Heavy
grandmother's name because I'm going to kick off here soon. I mean, they're not
Yeah,
going to. That's all fraud.
Oh,
Right, it's all fraud, and they're very particular about that. I mean, somebody goes and diagnoses themselves as they have cancer, and they go and get a life insurance policy. That policy is null and void.
right.
So how many people are driving without insurance, would you say?
Too many.
Would you give me a percentage? Like, what do you think?
Oh my God, I have a story for that.
Here
Go
in
ahead.
Vegas right now.
I want to hear her story, but yeah, I'd say 10%. I'd say if you're
That's a
followed too
lot.
closely by a car that was
a
built
lot.
before 1980, change lanes.
Wow.
Change
You know
lanes.
what? We've had a spike where people get hit or they hit and run out here. I don't know.
Listen, with COVID, nobody can afford insurance. The insurance is the one thing that didn't go away. They got a break in everything. I think Progressive gave $50 back to their customers.
Oh, gosh, yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
So we should go to bicycles then.
Really?
Yeah, knock
Dan?
yourself out. It's 113 out.
You'll die of a heat stroke.
Yes.
We have a
113
medical.
out.
It's cool.
You'd think I was letting you in here now. If I was on a bike, I'd be the guy passed out at your door.
You seen those electric bikes? Are we going to get insurance on those?
I would.
Oh my God, those were everywhere in San Diego.
Yeah.
The electric bike?
Yeah.
Dude, they're hot
They're
right now.
fun, though.
Yeah, until
They were
somebody falls
everywhere.
head over heels, then their health insurance goes through. The
Right.
But that to your point about the
Dan,
life
if you do,
insurance
Dan,
and the
if you
obese
don't.
people,
Yeah.
the health insurance for those people is huge.
Really?
I mean, it's enormous, and they do it. Like you guys were talking about the scales. Okay, so yes, women are more likely to go to the doctor, so their health insurance is going to be more expensive. Guys, we just suck it up, and you need life
Wow.
insurance.
So let me tell you what's funny is with my medical insurance, when after I had my third child, I went to go get the
Did that hurt? You having the third?
I know. Did it? Are you
really?
okay?
So I
look
was gonna,
pretty
I got a
remarkably well.
vasectomy, and then it was free.
That's not
the
covered.
vasectomy was free. No, it was free.
Not mine.
But like it was free, and I was like, how come this is completely free with no co-pays? It's like because the insurance company doesn't want you to have more children because they'll have to pay out money.
I'm sure that was the
That was here
insurance
in
company and
Vegas?
not your colleagues.
I don't know.
This was in Vegas.
Yeah, it's
no.
an
I've never heard
optional
of that.
procedure. Yeah, it's an
Yeah.
optional procedure. He had good health
But it
insurance.
was
then.
free.
It's an optional procedure, and optional procedures are usually, like Botox, vasectomy.
That's it. I
That
think
sounds
that's
like
the
men
only
should do
option
that
that's
versus
free.
a woman, though. It's so invasive.
Oh, I
I
agree.
mean,
Right?
Yeah, I
agree.
would say so. Some people should be made to do it.
I don't know, just,
And we go in a different direction.
So going back,
Let's go to an entirely different kind of
let's get back to the insurance thing here. Okay, so we're talking
Trying to
about
keep it
home
light.
insurance. I know, no, I love it.
So listen,
I love
if
it.
you want the time to think about home insurance, back to your original
Right,
question,
exactly.
The time to think about home insurance is when you're looking at the house, you're looking at the zip code, you're looking at the area. So when you're considering all the things that you want to buy, if you want to buy into it, you have to look around. It's like, look, okay, how old is this air conditioning? Now, your air conditioning is not going to be covered by your hazard insurance if it breaks. If
Really?
it falls through the roof, it's going to be covered. Yeah, that's when you need a warranty. But let's face it, if the pipes are bad or the house is
Right.
built
So
in
the insurance
80s
won't
or
cover
70s,
that stuff then.
No, that's like
It's a
wear and
home
tear.
warranty.
so you won't. So you
That-
guys don't
that goes
cover
to
like
warranty, yes.
floods and.
Floods are a different animal. You can get flood
Okay,
insurance.
I have a story
Oh, we want to hear
with my
She has a lot
mom.
of story.
Bring
I'm
it,
so
girl.
mad right now. Okay, so
I see
recently.
that blood boiling over there.
So recently, let me take my sweet voice back. Okay, so recently, my mom had a flood in her home, and it flooded her master bathroom, and they came in and they,
redid the whole thing.
yeah,
the
and
whole
then they
area.
had like mold in the kitchen. I don't know, it was all a mess. And my niece, which she's at that time, I think she's only like 4 months. She's a
Remind me
baby.
about mold.
Yes.
And so that was our concern, was my niece is living there with my sister, and if there's mold in the home, and this is taking a long time to get fixed and get approved, and so the insurance still until today, this has been 5 months. Like my mom hasn't gotten her money back from the insurance. They gave her some kind of random sorry estimate that does not facilitate the amount of money that she spent for the home. So my faith in insurance is not there anymore. I lost it. I was like, they suck. What's the purpose of having them if you got to pay out of pocket? Nothing matches. Suddenly they don't cover. They do this.
Yeah,
I mean,
mold in the last 10 years is something that's really become big. And now they're covering $10,000, $15,000 on it, or you can get an extra rider to add mold coverage or to increase the coverage on mold. But because of the heat here, it's really hasn't been too big of a deal, except for your mom, unfortunately. Where is she? Is she here in town?
Yeah, she's here in town. I mean, it wasn't like it was like little, but still, the point was she had to like take off. She has like no kitchen still. She's
yeah.
cooking in the garage.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. That should have been done a lot faster. I'm not sure who the company is, but that should have been done a lot faster.
I'm not even
And
gonna
they
say.
should have sent somebody out for a claim. You should have taken pictures. I mean,
Well, they did. They did all of that. They did the whole
then
process.
they got to
They came.
find somebody to come in there and fix it. Was this during COVID? This was during COVID, so they probably had some issues because everybody had some claims, and then getting in somebody's. You guys know the whole issue with appraisals and things like that. Nobody wants to go in anybody's house right now.
Yeah.
So everything's backed up. But we've had several claims for mold that just weren't handled at all. So if these people bought these houses for rentals, okay, so they're renting them out to their
Sure.
whoever theirs. They don't check under the sinks. Next thing I know, they sell the house, and then there's this huge mold infestation underneath there. Well, if they lived there and they didn't use that cabinet, that's just neglect. So they didn't cover it. Right? It was like
Yeah, but if
black,
you have
thick mold.
insurance to cover it, that's irrelevant. In my opinion, if I'm purchasing an insurance to cover from A to Z, and something happens between those two letters, I don't care if it was neglect or not. That's why I'm paying for it.
I can't argue with you, but they're arguing that there is some due diligence too. I mean, there's such a thing as neglect, and we've all seen those houses.
Right. Well, this was not neglected. Trust me.
No,
My
no,
mom
no,
loves
I'm
it.
I'm sure your mom is not at fault. Nobody's mom is ever at fault,
My-
but particularly yours.
My
Yours
mum's
might.
at fault for neglect.
What?
Look how
Well,
I
that
turned
explains
out.
a lot. Now it's all coming into focus.
Sharon, let me ask you a question. All right. So you're a little bit quiet over here, and I just wanted to ask you something about have you ever been a part of anything or family, friends that have had any situation where accidents and insurance was involved? Go ahead.
No, but I.
You're just lucky,
but
girl.
actually,
Now she's the perfect client,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? Her prices are going to be rock bottom.
you know what? I my insurance company said, you are our perfect client.
Yeah.
I just said that too.
Oh,
yeah.
But I did, however, I did have a very similar case like Dan, but mine wasn't more so a freak accident. I was actually in the car. I was parked. I thought I was parked, and I fell asleep, and I hit the car in front of me, but that car was trying to leave, so that car hit the other car in front of him.
So it was like a domino effect.
It
yeah.
was.
Wow.
That
Car
was
in the back is
yes.
always at fault.
Was there
20 years.
drinking involved?
No.
They were sleeping.
There was sleeping involved.
Was her shot?
But you know why you were tired? Because you were too busy working or studying.
Yes, I was actually studying.
I see.
Yes.
I'm onto you.
She was
Trying to
studying in
get
the
into
neighborhood.
UCLA.
And,
You know what I mean?
yeah. Okay.
Well, so
know that.
what was the outcome of that though?
My insurance rate went up, and
So you did have an accident. See, I thought it was like you were squeaky clean, like nothing happened.
well, but now it doesn't even show. So
Yeah, 5 years and 3
Dan,
years.
I
is
can't
that
with
5 years? But now, like, they don't know it happened. So I have like a low rate.
That's
and I'm
cool.
like, oh, this is great.
My dad, before he passed in February, he never got in a
I'm
car
so
accident.
sorry.
He was 68 years old. Never got hit. Never hit anybody. Nothing.
So, but did
Wow.
you drive around?
That's a lucky man.
But you know what's crazy is I think there's some like the older generation was very cautious. Today you got cell phones, you got you're typing and you're doing like
Yeah,
you're
the
doing
distractions
work.
are all
You
over.
just have said my dad was
As much
old.
as none of us.
Your dad was old. There's no distraction.
Yeah, well, I can bet you $100 that he never texted and drove. 'Cause,
No.
and
Let's be honest.
We've
do you,
all done it.
I want. Do you
We've all
text?
done it.
Do you guys text and drive?
I
want to
try
be,
not to.
Okay.
I try not to. I'm gonna be
If I'm
honest.
at a red
Yes.
light or
Okay.
something like
But
that, I might look.
If you look around while you're, I've got a truck, so I'm like higher up, and you can look down on everyone.
And they're
look
all
down,
doing it, right?
They're all doing
Yes.
it.
$1 million deal. Would you text if you're going to close it right there? Would you do it over there, Sharon?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. See, I would do the
But-
same.
I would
Right.
do
It's worth the risk because that's a big commission.
I had to
Yes,
wait
it
for a
is.
stoplight.
It can wait 5 minutes.
It could wait.
But I do practice now more so
Okay.
to keep my phone
Yeah.
just away from me while I'm driving. As
You
in,
know,
like, I don't.
it helps. So I mean, you got the
No, I do.
readout on the dashboard,
Right.
and I mean, all that stuff really does
Yeah.
help. But
Well, Apple says if you're driving, it'll send you a text. I'm driving.
There's a
When you
yes,
text
can
people, you're like,
actually-
what?
Yeah,
I
that-
have
that's-
that on
that's a fact,
actually.
yeah.
So
So what about like if you got like those electric cars like Teslas and they drive themselves?
Yeah.
What happens
How's
if
the
like they're
insurance on
driving
that?
itself and it gets into an accident?
it's still an accident.
still an
too.
So you
Did-
still
did
you
they get
still
the ticket?
You can't say the
Well,
Tesla
what are you
did it.
gonna, yeah, like he's
is the
gonna give
insurance?
he's gonna give the ticket to the
Is the
Tesla.
insurance higher on those cars?
The more safety, well, that's what we're finding. The more safety features some of these cars have, the
Yes.
less the insurance. Like you can get a
That's-
new BMW or a new Mercedes, and you're paying if you can find one with the chip shortage.
Right.
But it's less expensive, or the price will go
Yes.
down a little bit than some of the older cars with the less safety features.
Interesting.
Because it tells you, like,
Makes
hey, somebody's
sense.
close.
Yeah, I mean,
It is a-
Yeah,
we've all driven
mine-
that where you're
mine does
driving and
that.
all of a sudden your seat starts vibrating. You're
Yes.
like, what the hell?
Oh,
Is
yeah.
the car coming by? So
Yes.
you know not to change lanes. I love those little flashing lights on my
I
side view
love
mirrors,
that.
so I know
I have
nothing's in my
that.
blind spot.
And it
You
helps.
got that
Yeah.
on the Jeep?
My car,
No,
like,
He
on
does
the
not.
truck.
No doors,
got
but he's
no
got the
doors,
light on
but
the
he has
side.
all that.
On
yes.
the Jeep, it glows at night underneath, but I don't know how to.
All you
switch
got
it
to
on.
do is just put your hand out to the right or the left, right? Like
Right,
you're taking
yes.
a right, there
Or
you go.
It'd be this hand. This
Yeah.
hand. you'd
But what
slap
if you-
the passenger.
opposite. So-
but what if you need to make it right and your hand's too short? Like,
Then you put out your leg.
Your left leg, your right leg's on the gas pedal.
you might get in an accident doing that.
Right?
You're definitely going to get in it. Listen, we're all going to be in an accident before. It's going to happen. And
Yeah.
that's why rates keep going up. But yeah, they're less expensive than newer cars if you can find them, or the cars with the safety features. Teslas are less expensive. And again, it's a value issue. We were talking about the housing, you know,
Yes.
$2,000
Yes.
or $5,000 for it. You can add insurance to all of this stuff, you know, and it deprices. If you're just starting out and you don't have anything and the state minimums are $25.50, which I think are way too low, especially, you know, $25,000 in property damage, what car are you going to hit or is going to follow you that's $25,000 if it's total? Not that Jeep.
Not many cars
No.
these days.
No.
Yeah.
So that is the state minimums. And that's when I'm thinking, I'm not going to sell you that unless you're absolutely dying month to month. But during COVID, a lot of people were worried about their monthly bills. Nobody
Yes.
was driving. Remember,
Right.
it was
Yeah.
a
Yes.
picnic getting across town in 20 minutes anywhere. I mean, those
Yeah.
of us that had to be on
it
the
was
road.
great. I
It-
loved it.
It was. It was
Great.
But everybody knocked their insurance down for pricing.
Did insurance really tumble right there because there was nobody on the streets, so there's less accidents and stuff? Like people were like,
Yes, that's
Right?
how yes, it did. Yeah, the accidents really did. But then you find those idiots, and I watched Channel 8 in the morning. You watch those
Yeah.
idiots. They were doing 128 down Craig Road
oh my
in their
gosh.
Porsche because nobody
Yeah.
was on the road.
It's so crazy, man. Vegas is weird because they have these people that come out here. It's like I don't know. They just seem like everybody thinks they're fast and furious. I'm gonna tell you something. There's
Fast
a lot
and
of
Furious.
I'm gonna say this, and I'm not saying I'm from California, but I'm gonna tell you some of these California drivers, they come out here and they really need to adapt. And I'm just gonna leave it at that, right?
Yes, I agree.
Would you
They-
agree? You
no,
concur?
they really need to.
They do.
adapt.
I just think it's people. I just think
Yeah,
wherever
it's
they're from,
people.
we
No,
are
But
such-
but-
we are
but
such
we
a
have
melting
we
pot.
have more people come from California. I'm from California, but we do. We have more drivers that come
Yeah.
from California, so you're gonna see that more.
I'd consider myself a native, but I've been to Utah 100 times, and everybody up there says the Utah drivers are terrible.
So you need to adapt.
Yeah, I mean, you go down to Arizona, you're like, oh, I hate driving to Phoenix. All these, it's wherever you're at, nobody drives good anymore. Everybody's so sidetracked. Nobody wants to pay for insurance. Nobody wants to go anywhere. I mean,
I beg to differ. So I drove with my sister back.
from where,
And-
San Diego?
Yeah, and I flew there with my nieces, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna stay extra night, and I was like, I'm just gonna ride back with you. I beg to differ. My sister's such a safe driver. I was like, dude, really? She was like,
Which
going
also
60
explains, well, women are cheaper to insure than men.
she's like, I'm not going past.
And
this,
they live
Esmeralda.
longer, right?
Yeah, theoretically. Well,
I was like, come on, man. Like, I'm
Matt,
trying to
you're
get
missing your
home
joke
by like.
opportunity.
Don't talk to me about my
Dan
insurance
sounded
and
sad.
driving
He's like, they
record.
live longer.
I've got litany of like poor decisions.
Matt's in court
the-
every other weekend.
Hey, he's working. He's in the stairmaster.
It started
chose
out
poor
in England. Like it started out. I made good money at university.
you do know we drive on the right side of the road.
I do. Although what's messed up
Just want to make sure.
is when I went back
Kind of
to
important.
when I went back to England, I would drive on the wrong side of the road when I visited England.
Do you know?
Oh, wow.
Do you know how you know if there's an English tourist on the trip? You know
Because they don't
you know who they are.
tip?
Well, 'cause they bring a $50 bill and a T-shirt and don't change either one. No, they look to the wrong side of the road when they cross.
Yeah, there's many things I can say about the English, but like one thing I used to do when I was
They
at
take a lot of
university-
naps, right?
for sure. Like, but there's nothing wrong with a good nap.
That'd be a
But
siesta.
when I was at university, I used to get like I was making good money, and I wanted to have a nice car, like a sports car, and so I just went ahead and I bought a car, and then
Was it a sports car though, or
yeah,
just
it was
car?
like a BMW 3 something. I was, it was good. It was a good university car, but like.
Hold on.
Anyway,
Hold on.
I didn't know.
Wait a minute.
I'm not a car person.
How much would that
University
be?
and you're driving a BMW anything and Dad didn't buy it.
No, I was like,
You're
so
doing
fun.
pretty good.
I was so fun, and then so anyway, so then I was like, got this car, and I was like, okay, better get insurance. Called up for insurance. They said, you're how old? Like 20, and then the insurance was outrageous, and so then I just told them a bunch of stuff over the phone and paid a bit of money, and you get a cover note.
What is that?
Code for he lied.
Oh, is that what that is?
No, I told them a bunch of stuff. That's true, but like then they
Wait, but this was in England or
yeah,
or
this is in England.
Oh,
This is in
okay.
England. So then what happens is you get a piece of paper that says you're insured, and then you can register the vehicle, and because you have to pay road tax. But then my insurance would only last for like 8 days, because I couldn't back what I said with paperwork.
Listen,
And-
go ahead.
And then thank God I stopped that behavior.
Thank God you stopped that behavior.
Right, your son picked it up.
Yes.
So then what happened was the car got stolen.
Yeah.
And then
I didn't have insurance on it.
and then I was just like I was like, okay, just whatever, right? And then easy come, easy go. And then the police found it. The police found it, and then it was in London. And then they said, Mr. Shield, would you like to come like collect your car? I would like to see you. And I'm like, I think I'm good. I think just like, oh well, like I'm leaving the country here shortly.
in 1982, I bought a 1982 Chevy Chevette diesel, right? Because diesels just came out, 45 miles per gallon. It got 0 to 50 in, I think it took 3 days to get to 50 miles an hour.
Okay.
It was a diesel back
Yeah,
then. But I was paying $186 a month. That car was $7,676. I remember because every penny that I had.
Yeah, went to insurance.
When
Right.
the insurance was more than the car payment.
Yeah.
When I was 20.
Sometimes you got to do that when you're young.
I should have done it with a BMW, not a Chevy Chevette.
Yeah.
The odds would have been a lot better when I was driving.
So
down.
Carl, how did you get into insurance, man? I don't think we really got into that. What made you get into insurance?
I worked for UNLV for damn near 20 years, and I wanted to do something where I could help the people that I knew. Because if you've been here long enough, you guys know this. If you're here long enough, you're once, twice removed from everybody. And if you know a lot of people, things like that come in handy. And my father does insurance in New Jersey. He says, look, if I wish I would have done this 10 years ago. The state says that they have to have it for the cars. The mortgage company says you have to have it for the houses. All you have to do is create the price and the service. You don't have to create the demand. The demand's there because the law says you have to have it.
Yeah.
So if you looked at it, it kind of made sense from where we was coming from a customer service perspective. Did I ever think I'd be selling insurance when I was 20? No, I wanted to be doing Sports Center.
I think it's like this. You pick a field or a craft that's a necessity. Like homes. Who's not going to buy a home? Well, I mean, and not everybody's going to buy a home, but insurance is even bigger than that, right? Because
it's a long game. Insurance it takes a while to get going.
Yeah, it takes 5-6 years.
And
to
you
get
don't
going,
you make a small amount of money on each thing,
right?
But like it grows over time if you can keep everyone.
Right. And that's the idea is you want to eliminate your attrition, which is why I like being a broker because if you're at Farmers or something and the prices go bad or they start to screw you, and
you're stuck in a channel.
Yeah, you can't put them somewhere else. You just lose your customer that you fought so hard to get.
Explain the difference between a broker and then somebody that's like a
I can work for you. Yeah. Captive agent.
You're a free agent or a captive agent? No, you're not a captive agent.
Can you explain him? I don't know.
I'm sorry.
Term.
So State Farm, someone who works at State Farm is a
Matt will do it
captive
for us.
agent. But like you're an independent broker. But is there another term that's the converse of captive agent?
Independent broker.
Independent broker.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, in other words, if you guys both had State Farm experiences before where they dropped you, so State Farm agents can only sell State Farm insurance,
and they don't own their own book.
The company, the national company, owns that book of business. So if that person retires, you get stuck with a new agent or something like that. Whereas an independent agent or broker there are specific companies that assign specifically to independent agents. Hartford, Travelers, Safeco, Nationwide. I'm trying to think of all the different companies that we have that we represent. Stillwater. I mean, there's a whole bunch.
What about
of
that one with the little animal?
Geico?
Yeah.
They are actually.
You mean the
You
gecko?
mean a gecko, but it's Geico.
Actually, you know what? That's a Berkshire Hathaway company.
So
This is very true.
It's that lizard. You know that lizard? Like,
yeah, the lizard. Okay, there we go. I couldn't remember the name.
No,
I was like, the
It's interesting that you bring that up, though, because that is their own entity. They don't have agents. It's all call in. When Geico and Progressive
That's an
first
old
started
company,
doing
isn't it?
Berkshire Hathaway owns it.
Yes.
Yeah. So we were scared to death when that stuff first came out because we're like, people don't even need agents. They can go online, e-insurance, they can do all this stuff. But what we found is, like, when you guys have a problem, do you want to just call some random person over the phone, or do you want to call the agent that knows you, that's been taking care of you for years?
Yes.
It's about the customer service. So Progressive does both. We can sell Progressive insurance, or you can call it, and it's two separate entities. And ironically, you get two separate prices because of the different companies that they have. So the independent agent works for you. Okay, so I represent you guys to the different companies, whereas the captive agent has to represent that insurance company that they're for to you. To you. So I much would rather represent you to a bunch of idiot insurance companies than sit there with a suit and tie and people understand this. I mean, people come in my office, nobody has the shirt and tie. So if I have a shirt and tie on, it's like all of a sudden I'm the man. You're out here to screw me around.
Yeah.
But the biggest, listen, if you work in insurance, you either have to have a good sense of humor or a good bar. And if you have both, you're doing pretty good because it's a pretty boring business. I talk to my kids, when I worked at UNLV and I came home from work, or went out, people wanted to know what was going on. They had a vested interest in the community. You were asking about UNLV before.
100%.
Yeah. When I come home from working in insurance and somebody asks me how it was work, they're just being nice.
No.
Unless it's the five of us here. I mean, you don't want to hear insurance.
Do you think a lot of people have some animosity towards people that are in insurance?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Why is that?
Used car salesmen, insurance guys.
for the
priests.
problem that happened to my mom.
Yeah, but it's like they did the problem,
Girl.
just like I did the problem.
Right.
You know what I mean? So if
Right.
I did the problem, you have to get
It works both ways.
take a step
Dan.
back.
No,
Right?
it works both ways, Dan. Because if you called, they set the rates, they set everything because they don't have to talk to the customer. I have to talk to the customer. Right, so it works both. They don't want to talk to the customer doesn't want to talk to them. They need some guy in between.
You know what, Carl? You're right. So if we would have had our insurance guy or woman call us and actually intervene, right? Or
Binary person.
yeah, just make things simpler. I think that we probably would have maybe had a smoother experience, but we didn't have that really. We called like 5 different people, and it was like.
Here's the other thing, Esmeralda. Yeah, call me, sure.
Yeah, you have to call Carl now.
Here's
Well,
the
we're
other
still
thing.
trying to fix this
Sometimes if
problem.
it's a captive agent, and there are some really good ones out there. I mean, I don't want to
crush it.
Yeah, there are some great ones you can get great. There are some great people out there. By the same token, there's some not so great people out there. Whereas if they're new or afraid of something, and you're working for the company, and you have a bad claim, and
they're out to lunch.
Yeah, because they don't want to get on the bad side.
Business, and they don't care, and they work 3 hours a day. You know, I know
Ask
it.
Matt.
Yeah,
I've got him on retainer now.
Yeah, I know.
Hey,
I know. All
you
kinds
guys will
of
be best
things.
friends after the show.
Actually,
I can already see it happening.
Do you know what? I've
wanna ride
got
with
Carl.
his Jeep.
I've got a policy for you.
Yeah, I'll take it.
So we closed on a high-rise condo on Monday
There you go.
for cash.
See,
Carl, look at you, big
And-
dog.
no, listen.
They need $1 million liability at the high
And
rise.
they don't.
He
I
took
know
your
that
life,
they
but he's
don't
bringing
have
it back.
insurance because we closed it in 24 hours.
There's no way they got insurance on that.
There's no way. And my assistant, this guy is really cool, but he's a bit different. Like he has a different type of lifestyle. And
And clearly he's not listening.
He's not.
my assistant is going to be. She's not a property manager, but she's going to pay all his bills for this property because he can't plug in. He doesn't plug into the world. He
Yeah.
does what he does. And so there's a policy for you.
Well, okay. We were doing a lot of stuff at Panorama Towers when those
Yeah.
guys opened in there. All of a sudden there was a whole lot of
Yeah.
water leaks up there.
Yes.
Oh, that can be
Allure
fatal.
Yeah.
I was in
has
Metropolis.
a lot of it.
Yeah.
So there was a big water leak in Metropolis. There was a penthouse party, and we
Oh
got
my
blamed
gosh.
for it, but it wasn't the person who held the party's fault.
Well,
But
I've seen floors buckle in those
someone,
places.
what?
Oh,
there was a
that sounds
huge
dangerous.
lawsuit. It was millions of dollars damage, and a construction worker. There was these tubes that were open at the top of the building, and someone put an empty can of Monster Energy drink down
Oh
there,
gosh.
and it blocked it up, and then it backed up, and it flooded all the 4th floor, one floor, and then collapsed all the ceilings, like on the other floor, and everyone was blaming each other. But so yeah, high-rise insurance claims can be like no fun at all.
Oh, because it's not just one.
It's like the downstairs
Yes.
one.
And now the companies are covering less and less of that because they're trying to find the blame, and the HOA has to have its own insurance. And
Right.
Carl, we got a question.
yeah,
Yeah, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Why is it so hard to insure a cargo van if you plan on converting it for camping? I financed one recently and literally could only get one insurance company to take it.
Because cargo vans are considered commercial properties, commercial vans. And so,
Really?
yeah.
That's what it is.
So just
When it's
don't
that
say you're
big, yeah,
camping.
it's like the Ford F-350. Remember when those first
Yes.
came out?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's companies that insisted that those were commercial vehicles, and you had to insure them commercially because of the size in the engine from what most people do. Now, I mean, people are at fault too because everybody's trying to know somebody and get a deal. You know, no, I'm not using it. I just need to insure it and register it. And next thing you know, the name's all over the side, and it is a commercial vehicle. So commercial vehicles like that or bigger trucks are notoriously only commercial because that's who generally buys
for like construction, I'm assuming,
Yeah.
or things like that.
yeah, construction or anything. What are we seeing a whole lot now?
Well, Matt has a big truck. Is that
those guys that come in. Those guys that come and wash your cars.
throwing him under the
names
bus
outside.
right now?
I like Matt's truck, man. Matt's truck comes in like a beast. He comes in, he's just riding in, he's like
Yeah, they
bumping
got-
over
No,
things.
I didn't say I
like-
didn't like it. I just said if he's using it for
Well, I'd say
business. That's
truck-
all. I'm just asking.
Truck,
you
truck
know.
lives matter.
Yeah,
They do, man. Hey, I like your truck though, man. It's a
Well,
nice
see,
raised
real
truck.
estate
No,
agents,
I
insurance
like
is a
it.
little
But
higher.
the
Nothing
thing
against
is-
it. I like it.
I
too.
wouldn't get a luxury sports sedan again because once you get the truck, it's like, you can do.
What
stuff.
about the Jeep though? You got the Jeep now too, right? So
Yeah, the Jeep is just like silly.
Ask them what kind of commercial vehicle was it? What kind of van? Who made it? Was
ask
it-
him the question. Say, Kismet, what is it? What kind of commercial van is it, Kismet? He wants to
Yeah,
know.
is it a Chevy? Is it a Ford? What is it? A Econoline or something like that? Because typically, what happens is when those are purchased, they're purchased for commercial use. So insurance
Yeah.
companies, when you guys will tell me the VIN number, I'll put it in for personal lines, and it'll tell me everything. So if I put the VIN number in for, nationwide, and it doesn't spit it out, they won't insure it. You have to go to the commercial side. And so it's not in this particular case, it's not the agent. It's just It's just the company's not up to speed on what's going on. Remember when they changed zip codes here? Like
Yes.
oh my God, what a freaking nightmare. Because I put the zip code in for a new house, and I was like, well, it doesn't pass brush standards. It's like, well, show me brush. Show me brush around here that's going to create a fire for you.
I got one question on this. If somebody had an issue on their house, let's say it's a big issue, right? He said, makes sense, thanks. If you have a big issue on a home, right? Let's say water damage or fire, does that insurance just drop you because the premium they had to pay out?
I think they drop because they're assholes.
But I mean, they do, right? I mean, they're like, you know what? Hey, you're too much of a risk. I'm out of here.
One of my longest favorite clients. I mean, he had in 1 year it was like a $1,500 claim. It was a UNLV buddy, and it was actually her dad, and he had like a $1,500 claim that he decided to call and he didn't ask. Then next thing, like 6 months later, he had a water leak that was a $2,000 claim. So now they're going to cancel him because he had 2 claims, but it was a total of a couple $100.
Oh, the other thing, there's this thing called the Clute report, which is good. You looked at that when getting into like hairy deals.
Chevy Cargo 2,500. Go ahead and answer.
Can the Clute report, if you buy a new home but there's been previous claims on that house, will that affect the new owner's insurance?
Sometimes it just depends. Yeah, what was that? A Chevy 2,500?
Yeah, Chevy Cargo 2,500.
Yeah, if it was a 1,500, you'd be able to insure that without any problem. But because it's a 2,500, I think it's going to haul stuff.
Yeah,
so that's what it comes down to.
I mean,
call your agent, have them call the underwriter, and see if you can get an exception.
Just call Cook Group.
Well, the other thing I got to say to Kismet.
But yeah, Matt's right about the Clue report. I can talk about that. You put an address in, or you put somebody's name in, and that's why they need your birth date. It pops up every accident or anything you've had in 5 years. And if they're not even sure that you were the owner and the home, it's like throwing crap to the wall, seeing what sticks. Right. So you have to click it off, and then you have to explain it. Then you need a letter telling them what's going on.
So just to explain, the Clute report is anything to do with insurance or claims on that property, right?
Right.
So it doesn't we don't look at it very often, but sometimes it becomes relevant.
More and more.
Yeah, sometimes it's relevant.
More and more.
Give me an example when you would like have an issue like that.
Well, like say
water
claim, buying a house,
Floors
or
buckled.
like so I sold a home to a buyer. And after they were going to buy the house. It was an awesome deal, and the timing was right, and everything was good. But their insurance was through the roof on that house because the previous owner had done a bunch of insurance claims, and they'd stuck to the property, and then he was getting like affected by it, and it's something I hadn't encountered before, but that's how I learned about that.
Yeah.
It happens.
I have a question. So what if you own, like, let's say you're an investor and you own multiple properties. Is there like some type of a rate where you could put all your homes, like your investment, all in one? Or no?
I mean, it would be the multi-policy discount. Yeah, we have many people that own multiple houses.
Is that the bundle of the bundle?
Yes.
That's the mega bundle.
Boodle. It's only a bundle if we have their cars too. They're bundling their houses. It's not so much of a discount like a bundle, but yeah, I mean, if you have multiple properties with one and you don't have any claims, the problem lies, and I don't suggest that.
It's a tenant, right?
Yeah. Because if you have one claim, then all of a sudden you are nailed on that one claim. Then all of your houses are going to have some kind of impact on that one particular claim. Right. So that's why different LLCs and different company names. Yeah. I mean, putting everything in your name for anything.
Well, no, I mean, it would be an LLC or something.
Yeah, but if it's an LLC,
but that makes sense.
Yeah. So that's different because then it's commercial. But if you have 5 houses and they're all in your name and you're renting a bunch out and you have one claim, it may affect other things. It shouldn't. Sometimes it does. Depends on what it is. And then back to the Clue report. You can run a Clue report on anything like that. And for a while, I think realtors were required to get some kind of report on the house beforehand.
So,
yeah, that went away when we were running that kind of stuff to find out who was claims. But it is kind of funny. I mean, we all know that one person that has like 100 bad things happen to them all the time. Right? So, I mean, if you're in that house and you have 6 or 7 claims in that house.
What if the house is haunted?
Yeah, maybe, right. Maybe it's just not a lucky house. Maybe you should just move on to the next house on the block.
So
if you can't afford it.
We're going to wrap this up because we want to just quick run a segment here, and I know she's got to leave. Real quick, Carl, tell everybody real quick, you have a website. Let's take a look at this real quick, man.
Oh, it's got
This is it right here.
commercials on it. Yeah, cookinsgroup.com.
Is this it?
That's it.
This is it right here, guys. So if you guys want to take a look at him, he's a great dude. I tell you what, he's taken care of me for 10 plus years.
Really?
And I wouldn't go anywhere else.
Give or take. And we love
There
you
they
too,
are.
man.
Look at
Oh,
you,
look at
man.
that.
I don't know,
Nice
how
picture.
about that for a not so good picture? Well, if that's really
Right,
what
That's
I
a
look
great
like, I'm
picture,
sorry.
man. You look very sophisticated there, Carl.
I can fool some people sometimes.
And you got even a video here. Look at
I'll
just
tell
play
you what
this
I
real
need
quick.
is an English accent to really sound good.
Oh, wow.
In Spanish too?
Yeah,
Do you hear
Man,
that?
he's
that
a-
was our Telemundo. Yeah, that was our
Your
Telemundo.
Telemundo.
Well, you know the stereotype, right? When I'm talking to the people from Telemundo,
wow.
you
Pretty
know-
decent, man.
You know these people don't have insurance anyway. You need to advertise to them.
That's
good.
crazy.
I
Well,
like
let's
that,
do this,
yeah.
guys, real quick. So I want to give you, you got to leave, Sharon. I just want to know, we're going to talk a little bit here on what's going to happen with the fourth quarter. Do you guys continue to see the appreciation going this direction? I'm going to go into this more in depth on Saturday, but I just want to get your take. What are you seeing out there in the markets right now? Just a real quick, concise.
I think we're slowing down just a
Yeah, I
little
was
bit.
slowing down.
Yeah, it's slowing down. We are seeing a lot more people listing, but I don't think.
Are you a
that's
big
going to-
listing agent though? Like, are you
I
somebody that's
try
like,
to be.
Do you?
I try to be. But more so, I think now people know they have listed their homes or properties a little bit too high, so they're willing to come down. Like, as in, they're willing to negotiate now. As in, okay, fine, yeah, it's a little too high.
So
All
it
right.
peaked.
It's
It's
peaked.
easier to it's easier to negotiate now than it was. I'm going to say 3 weeks ago for sure.
Yeah, I was looking at a line, and ever since I think it was like April, because you get graphs, right? And these graphs were basically just like a straight
Love
line
these
across, and I'm like, okay, normally you would see like it go up and down. What the graph was showing is that 100% of people that were putting their house on the market were getting 100% of what they offered or what they were listing
Yes,
it for
This is true.
4 or 5 months straight.
Yep.
No break.
Yeah, it
No
was
break.
tough.
No break.
But now we are seeing that break. Well, at least I am.
Yeah.
I'm seeing that break, and I got my client a house. The house they wanted 450. We put in 415, and they took it.
There you go.
Are these older houses now?
They
'Cause-
are. They are.
Okay, so like the newer stuff is all gone. This is just
Yes. Yes.
which could explain the quality
Yes,
of the property.
But also those homes that have been upgraded / updated or well taken care of, they will still off the market. You know, people will still pay that appraisal gap or what have you. But I'm just talking about the normal.
What is a day like in your work day? What does that look like for you? Just curious.
It's mostly phone calls. Like
That's it. You just wake up and you
it's
just start pounding
No,
calls.
seriously, it's phone call. Like really, like, hey, what happened to my repair request? We don't want to repair it at all.
used to
Like,
do
we
that
don't
when
want to
I
do
dated.
this.
It
Like,
never worked out well.
the seller's like, why would I repair this? It was fine. Or
So you're just answering stuff that's
Yes,
related to deals or
absolutely.
things that you got going on.
yes. On top of that, I just closed on a house, and the new owners walked in. I was representing the buyers. He calls me. He says, Sharon. I said, congratulations. I'm so happy. Recorded. I'll swing by. He's like, my ceiling's leaking. And I'm like, what?
Call Carl.
Oh my
Yeah.
god. Now she's got a source.
And you know what? You know what? I have never had this happen to me, but the pan that goes under your washer?
Yes.
So it's a new Lennar build. So it wasn't put in correctly. The
Oh, wow.
water
That happened before.
seeped through the spud instead of going in the drain.
Wow.
So when the movers, obviously common sense, they're going to put the hose on the pan, right?
Yeah.
Because this is where all the water drains,
Yes.
right?
One would
But the
think.
water seeped through the spud, went down exactly how the pipes were laid out. So when you go downstairs, you'll see it. It's been
Wow.
What's the spud?
that little
The hole?
Yeah, the hole.
The hole.
It's
But
called
hold
the
that
spud.
yes. So that
Like
thing
the drain
holds-
hole.
Yes,
It holds
Yeah.
it.
that holds
That's
it.
the spud.
Yes.
Oh, I learned something.
There you go. So I learned it that day.
Two
Yeah.
hours later, all this insurance, and you're learning something.
But it wasn't put in correctly, so the water fell through it.
Attaboy.
There you go.
Attaboy.
Call
You know what else?
Carl.
You know what else is big on that? The washing machine's not installed. That back thing does explode. And you
Yes.
get claims on that. But the bigger one I find is
Yes.
the water to the refrigerator.
Oh my goodness,
When
I
people
believe
go
you.
on vacation,
Yes.
that thing pops
Pops
out,
up, yeah.
floods the whole kitchen floor.
It's
Happens all the
I
time.
know.
Shut the water off to the
I
refrigerator.
believe you.
So what are your days like when you're writing a contract right now? What are you seeing for your clients right now before they get an offer accepted? Is it just like right away?
Pretty much, yes.
Yeah. I mean, you write it and it's like there's no. I mean, you said there's not a lot of multiple offers
and there's
going
no,
on.
Yeah, and there's no pushback. They're not like they don't. You know, they're like, hey, are you gonna waive your like contingencies? The first thing I ask them, hey, do you have offers? Yes, but are you willing to waive your rights? I'm like, no, I'm not.
Most of the time, you can tell the other agent's lying.
I can, but
You
it's
know?
just it's just so annoying.
How is that? How do
Let me
you
tell you, being a list,
How?
I list, and I've never done that. Like waive your contingencies, like
Yeah.
and don't even do home. Like I've never
Yeah.
done that. It's just
I like
Once,
she does
how
the
many
other
for the
person's
last
bills.
client that you had? How many offers did you write before it was accepted?
27.
Wow,
For one
27.
client.
Tough.
27.
Wow.
Like under 250
Under 370.
with no extra cash.
Yes, with no extra cash.
Mm-hmm.
So finally, I said, you need to get some cash. I hate to say
Yeah,
it that way,
get
but
a
it's
gift.
You showed
Yeah, get a
28
gift.
houses.
Call
then.
mom.
I showed, yes, actually 32 homes in that week.
Wow.
So with that client,
You
I
got
was
it
not-
done.
I did. I'm happy. She's happy.
So she did find something.
She did find
Oh,
something, but
okay,
I
that's
cried.
sweet.
I was the one crying,
Yeah.
writing the deal,
Yeah, you were the one writing it.
and crying after I got accepted.
Why are there tears on my keyboard?
This is an Instagram moment.
But
So-
you were crying for yourself, though.
Right.
Crying for myself. My patience was tested.
The miles I put on my car.
You should look at my car. Is so dirty right now. Everyone's like, "What's wrong with your car? You want to know what's wrong with my car?"
You're getting into
Doesn't
it.
have
27
insurance.
houses later.
Hitting the streets, getting it done.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're gonna end this, Matt. Real quick, man. You got anything else to say about what's going on in the market? Like, what are you seeing out there? You're in the trenches.
Much the same as like what was said. It's calmed down a bit. You still get rewarded for being quick. There's more like play in the deals where you can squeeze some value out of sellers.
Very
Sellers can't get high on their end product anymore, like because sellers went wild for a bit. But
Sure.
the market's like pulled back from them.
The
So-
market's slowing down. Is that right? A little bit or not really?
I'd say when I'd say slowed down, I would say that price appreciation has slowed down a bit and there's less frenzy.
Is that because the inventory is lower?
The inventory's still quite low, I would say.
It is very low,
but
it's less people
I think
moving.
buyers have calmed down a
Yes.
bit and
Interesting.
like I don't know, but like the fourth for me, like personally, my last quarter is always my best quarter.
Yes.
A lot of it's to do with you're going to see some people come out the woodwork for like the tax year, and they're going to
Yes.
want to close before the end of the year.
Yes.
Before
this
they
is
have to
true.
file their taxes.
Yeah,
mean?
so they want to have next year clean for like not paying state income tax if they susceptible to it.
Right.
Yes.
But yeah, I think another thing is that I think people. It's been a long hot summer, and I think people get burnt out from the heat. And I think when it cools down, you're going to see it pick up a bit. But like some people say that it gets quieter over Thanksgiving and
No, but I think this fourth quarter, it's going to be a good time for buyers to buy.
Yeah,
I
for
really
sure.
think
So
It's
do
gonna
you
be-
think the fourth
it's gonna
quarter's
be the
gonna pick
best
up?
time all
for
year
them to buy. Yes,
because it's a more friendly playing field.
It is.
And if you don't have like it's a more friendly playing field to like get it done, and
Makes sense.
If you're
so-
gonna buy, like, I think it's.
So you think
It's-
fourth quarter is going to be jamming then, right? You
I
think it's
think
just going to be
so. For buyers,
For
at least.
buyers,
For
I think it's
buyers.
going to be like it's
So
it's
the
a more
sellers
like
are
I
not
said,
gonna make a fortune.
it's
Yes.
less hostile territory to go out and buy a house right now, and I think people will take advantage of that.
home appreciation? Is it going to continue to go up?
I think
It's going to
so.
creep up.
Yes, I think it's gonna.
It's
I-
not going
I
to. It's
agree
not going to
with
go
Mike.
up 18,
No.
20%,
No.
right?
What are
I
the
hope
mortgage
not.
rates going to do?
Yeah.
What's that?
What are the mortgage rates going to do?
Well, I think they're going to probably stay the same. I mean, if inflation goes up, then we're probably going to see some of the Fed get involved, right? It's always manipulation, how much the bonds are going to be doing. And so we'll see about that, But
What is it now, 3%?
it depends on the client, but high twos. I'm sorry. Yeah, high twos, low threes,
Low threes,
I would say. Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
So, and it depends on the client. The client's occupancy, right? Obviously, what their credit score is. There's a lot of compensating factors. But overall, I think it's a good time to buy. I'm just curious that are we going to continue to see the same pattern, or is it going to kind of regress a little bit? I feel like it's regressing not so much on the mortgage rate side of it, but on the housing side of it, where you're starting to see appreciation go up, but just not at the pace it was going up, let's say at the start of of 2021.
Right. No, absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's plausible.
Yeah.
I'd say, but for me, if I'm going on the playing field and I have a client,
Yes.
then I'm always going to knock everyone over. So it doesn't really matter.
You're going to come in with your Dodge Ram and just let everybody have it.
My shoulder and a joke.
Yeah, but to that point, once upon a time, I know you got to wrap up. But
Yeah.
once upon a time, the mortgage companies were demanding that the property be covered for whatever the mortgage was, not the value or not the rebuilding cost that
Yeah.
they have to do. So
Yes.
now they put 150% down, 150% rebuilding cost, which kind of made everything
Right.
easier. So you can actually do it for the same thing, but they'll tell you they're guaranteed to replace the property. It's
And
done.
before you end it, I really want to tell everyone it is a very good idea to get pre-approved before going out with your agents and looking at homes. I'll tell you why. Yes, it is a friendlier environment. It's less hostile, but still the homes that you like, 10 more people will like it. And the one who has that letter and can, drop that offer and send it in first,
No, that's
Well,
Sharon's 100% right, because you got to write a clean offer. Yeah.
And not only if you don't have that pre-approval letter ready by the time you get it, and then comes this long weekend, well, guess what? It's under contract. And next Tuesday we're starting all over again.
Yes.
So you need to call Dan.
Matt, do you concur? And by the way, thank
Yeah,
you
yeah.
for the plug.
I would
She's
say-
an amazing.
Seriously.
She's coming back. I
Yeah.
mean, she's reserved. I'm going to put her name right there. That's going to be her seat.
She's gonna hold Dan fan.
Yes.
She's got to have a spot for her dog right next to her.
All right. What were you going to say, Matt?
I think that's very important, and but more importantly than that, like, why waste time if you're like, it's always better to have that financial conversation before you even do anything, because
Absolutely.
you can avoid disappointment faster, and the best way to deliver bad news is fast, and then
Yes,
come up with an
I
action
agree.
plan to fix it.
Absolutely.
All right, guys, we're going to end the show. 100% love it, Matt. All right, so first off, let's say how we get hold of, one more time, Mr. Carl Cook. He's right here.
Cook Insurance Group.
Cook Insurance Group. If you guys need-
702-436-0088.
There you go. You sounded just like one of those commercials, man.
I might have done one or two before.
It's like, wait a second.
Might have done one or two before.
There you go. So yeah, find him. He's a great guy. He's a great resource for anybody that's looking for car insurance,
You wanna
home
hear my
insurance,
favorite
life.
claim?
Say it.
In Taco Bell, starts to drive forward, realizes there's no sauce in her bag, throws it in reverse, and slams right into the Mercedes right behind her.
I can't.
Very expensive taco sauce.
Wow, somebody actually did that.
It's happened more than once, man. You're driving in a drive-through, do not put it in reverse.
It's like,
once
where
you're
did that
past- once you
brain
have your food.
processing go? Did it go sideways and then
Clearly,
It's
you're
called-
so hungry.
It's called hangry. It's a real thing.
Matt
It is
Shields,
a whole thing.
Shield Team 6. What's going on, buddy? How does somebody get a hold of you?
Just get a hold of you and get a hold of me.
Oh wow.
That's amazing.
Stay with BMW and there for the cops.
Plug yourself, man.
Oh,
Tell people what's up.
Yeah, I'm at Simply Vegas Real Estate, mattshield.com, mattshiel.com.
I love it.
Okay.
Sharon.
Yes.
Sharon Cho. How does somebody get a hold of you, Sharon?
Find me on Instagram, Sharon Sells Vegas. I'm from Schofield Realty, sharon.schofieldrealty.com.
Awesome. You're Schofield Realty. She's got a great Instagram channel.
Really?
Yeah,
I gotta
like you got
follow
to
you.
jump
I'll
on
follow
it.
Oh
you.
yeah,
follow me.
I think I want to be
We'll
your follower.
do the Cook
You
Insurance
should
Group. I'll follow
be.
you. Yeah.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
follow you. What?
Yeah, everybody's getting invites after the
follow
show,
you.
right?
This is
Just
true.
everybody's.
Yes. Get more followers.
Esmeralda. Hi.
Yes. Hi.
Are you texting over there?
No, not at all.
Oh, okay. So what's
Stranger
going
friendly.
As long as
what's
she's
going
not
on?
driving. It's
I just
not
want to
bad.
say, Esmeralda, thank you for always coming on and giving your insight.
Thank you.
Very
for
nice to
having
have
me.
you this evening, and we'll have you back. Guys, if you have not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. If you like the content, please put the like button out there. Give us some support. Give us some love. We need it. We're trying to build this to 1,000+ subscribers, and you guys out there are the real reason why we're here, and hopefully you guys continue to give us some support. Thank you all for tuning in as always, and we'll see you on Saturday. The French Workbench Podcast. This is Dan French. We'll see you then.
Thank you for watching an episode of the French Workbench Podcast. If you want to tune into past episodes, please subscribe to my channel now. Also, if you want to look at our audio only options, we do have iTunes and SoundCloud.